Alrighty then, folks. Hello there, and welcome, well, to some back to some new Gundam Breaker, to others to some new Gundam Breaker, and to some others. Didn't we just do this yesterday? We in fact did. So I tried recording this yesterday, like right as it came out, and I used my usual recording setup, which worked fine. At least on my end, the game was running at 144 FPS, like it looked great, it worked fine. The footage looked great, worked fine. When I rendered it, for some reason it wouldn't render over 15. I have no idea why. Like, it worked perfectly fine. I tried it with other footage, worked fine, but just recordings of this game was rendering out in 15. I have no clue why. It just was doing that. It's actually running really well. So I'm doing this one just to replace those other videos. We have to redo what we did, but I don't want to go through all the beginning, so we'll do what we're gonna do anyway. Plus we're slightly changed, which is nice. Slightly different Gunpla than before. Yeah, we're gonna redo the beginning. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm gonna play more of this just because this is a massive pain in the ass to get to work. And the fact that, you know, already getting it to work is like that, and while I do enjoy playing the game, it's not worth it. I have other stuff I could record. I'm sorry if that disappoints you. I do have the PS4 playlist if you want to watch that. It probably didn't run as well as this one and probably doesn't look as good. Plus, this is going to be at 60 FPS because I'm using OBS to record it. So what I originally did was I used Fraps to record it, but because it's not in DirectX 11 or OpenGL, I wasn't able to record it, so I had to record my screen, which footage-wise it looked fine. I didn't even notice it was an issue till it got uploaded. I didn't notice. So I tried that. I tried Bandicam. I tried Hypercut. I tried Shadowplay. All of them were coming out at 15 for whatever reason. So what I'm doing now is I'm using OBS to pipe it through my Elgato and back out. I have one of those internal Elgato cards for game capture, which is pretty nice. It took me about 25 minutes to get it set up, and I'm gonna have to redo that exact same setup to do another episode if I end the recording. So unless I wanted to do like big blocks of recording, which I kind of don't want to because I don't record like that, yeah, it's just a giant pain in the butt. But we're gonna redo it. So if you haven't played Gundam Breaker before, this is basically a pseudo Dynasty Warriors-esque kind of game where usually it's 3v3 you versus 3 opponents. You have some allies, but they're basically useless 90% of the time. We are currently playing as Tom Senpai, or Tom, because I was trying to make a joke and I kept my character name default for the PS4 playlist, but not for this one. So yeah, let's begin. I'm gonna try at least to take some decisions that I did differently before, but I've taken both of them now, so it doesn't really matter.
Gunbre Highschool.
So,
Gunplaの制作およびガンプラバトルに特化した人材育成を目的とした大規模学園都市計画の一翼を担う学園である。
Welcome to Gunpre Academy, or the place where they teach kids exclusively how to use Gunpla. So this is in a world where major political decisions are made by Gunpla. Most jobs are focused around Gunpla. It's basically Bandai's wet dream in a nutshell. Yeah, you know, some wish fulfillment by the company. I'm not surprised they made it into a game. But yeah, so the school has a student council, which is basically a fascist government that they didn't build enough countermeasure to, and created top-heavy, so basically everyone's unhappy, and it's designed to make you try to throw out the student council, except for they don't let people challenge the student council, even though that's what they want, and it's very contrary and confusing.
生徒たちは皆ガンプラを愛し、互いに切磋琢磨することで、その技術と精神を磨き上げる。言語や文化の壁を越え、ガンプラが世界中の人に愛されるようになった今日において、この学園都市における成果が日本の未来を占うと言っても過言ではない。そのガンブレ学園の前に一人の転入生の姿があった。
Oh, and if you're curious, I'm actually playing this with the DS4. I'm using DS4 PC. Yeah, I think that's called, or DS4 Windows, whatever. So the buttons come up as Xbox buttons, but I'm using a PS4 controller.
溢れる情熱に胸の高まりを抑えきれない。その手から生み出されるガンプラはいかなる伝説となるのか。ガンプラビルダーの物語が 今始まる。
This is a really heavy-handed, like a really heavy-handed description for something we really should be experiencing ourselves, but we aren't. We're being told we're going to experience this. I guess it makes sense in Japan, but that's really lazy in America.
もしかして
Kolmu-san, is that you?
やっぱり覚えてない？小学生の途中まで一緒だった三神楽ゆいだよ。
So, this is our rich childhood friend who, as a child, could afford master grade models. Though, again, this is the Bandai world where probably Gunpla is super cheap. Even though Bandai wants the exact opposite of that, but whatever. But yeah, this is our childhood friend. She used to live next to us till she had to move for work. You know, her dad was a big shot Gunpla pilot, and he got a job in the capital, and she had to move away. And we stuck in bumfuck nowhere.
あの頃よく一緒にガンプラ作ったりバトルしてたよね。懐かしいな。
She's been in love with us since we were kids, even though we didn't know she existed, and forgot about her till this point. Mostly because she was just introduced now, but, you know,
あの
usual
時は
generic
私の
stuff.
方がお父さんの仕事の都合で引っ越しちゃったけど、
And if you're curious, we are a no eye, no nosed person.
こうしてま
We
た
have a
会
chin
えて
though.
嬉しい。
Most people don't have chins.
そっか、転入生って君のことだったんだ。確か1個下だから2年生だよね。
So, like most school uniforms, there are slight variations in the different classes. And by that I mean there are none at all, and I'm not sure how you tell somebody is a lowerclassman, except for when they tell you. Literally, it's exactly the same. All they would have done is change the ribbon. Something like that would have been great, helped with the atmosphere, but no.
私は3年生だからお姉さんってことで。
Though there are characters who wear their winter
期待させ
clothing
てく
even
れそう
though
っていうか、
we're in
きらめ
autumn,
きを
which
感
I
じる
guess
って
makes
いう
sense.
か。
And then Marika, who's allowed to wear a sweater everywhere, even though it's not branded.
この感じ、きっとニュータイプよ。人類の新たなる革新。
And by new type, she's referring to the space magicians from the Universal Century. She's also about to mention Gundam X, which is one of the other series to use new types. However, they're not exclusive. Those are the two to officially have new types. Gundam Seed, which is the more popular one, which you probably watched first. Or Double O. It's kind of up in the air these days. Also had them, but they were never directly introduced. It's just some weird connection between clones that Kira doesn't have for some reason. Even though you find out he's a clone too. Not only is he clone, but he has brothers who are just failed clones like him. The only one of them survives, and that's from the Gundam Mastery novel. Or manga. There's also novels, but they weren't very good.
ごめんなさい。ちょうど最近ガンダム X を見直してて。
So, Gundam
今日
X
は
is
結局朝まで。
Gundam X is one of the weird ones because it was put out at a point where Japan really wasn't big on mech anime anymore. Like, it got cut down to 43 episodes, and it's like the second shortest anime, or Gundam anime. Well, at the time. I believe Build Divers is only gonna have 25 episodes, so that's a little bit different. But it basically premised that what if Zeon had dropped more colonies and caused a pseudo-apocalypse and ended the world, and the stalemate that resulted from that. And the main character is basically a bandit who steals mobile suits until he tries to kidnap a 13-year-old girl who's a new type and can see the future, who falls in love with him randomly. Pretty good series. I'd actually suggest it. I'm really curious as to what the ending was supposed to be because we've never seen the design documents, but we'll probably never know. All we know is there's supposed to be 3 more Gundams introduced that were never introduced. I don't believe the Gundam X is in
そ
it,
の
or
君の冷静なツッコミもね。
the double X isn't in this, but the X is in this. So we might use a Gundam X because I like
君
it,
みた
but
いに
I doubt it.
外から来た人が
Actually,
こ
we
の
aren't going to get the
学園を
parts hurt in these first few levels,
世
so
界を変
meh.
えていくのかも。意味がわからない？今はそれでいいの。私も負けないように頑張るわ。それじゃあ何か困ったことがあったら相談して。私の方がお姉さんなんだから遠慮せずにね。
And also, what we don't find out till way too late in the story is Yui is actually the former student council president who got kicked out. Or not president, vice president. And she got kicked out and she feels responsible for it. They'll imply it, but they don't imply it well, so it's kind of hard to know till she actually tells you. And they tell you way too late in the story. But they have to get to the point where she has her own specific stuff.
君も職員室に急いだ方がいいんじゃない？
As you'll probably notice, I have a lot of issues with how this game is written. It is written very badly, in my opinion anyway. It's kind of generic, and if you haven't played Gundam Breaker 3, it's alright and it's kind of acceptable, but it's even generic for anime standards. It's kind of bad. Uh-huh.
私が君のクラスの担任、相田しえよ。
And this is the best character in the show, or well, in the game. However, we can't go for her at all in the story. That's not allowed because the game's not that cool. Literally, when I first started playing, it's like, yeah, she's gonna be my target. She is not available. Instead, we have to pick from the 6 lame characters that they already offer us. R.I.P.
これからよろしくね。
We'll always have our secret.
知っての通り、ここ私立ガンブレ学園は世界でも有数のガンプラバトルに特化した学園なの。組み立てから塗装、改造、仕上げまでありとあらゆるガンプラに関する技術が学べるわ。もちろん実践もね。
Don't worry, we'll only be doing those first 2 parts. We'll be ignoring the third one because that would be too cool. We don't actually ever finish anything. Seriously, we don't even do panel lining, which is stupid, but whatever. We do actually battle people occasionally.
残念ながらいつでも好きにバトルできるというわけではないのだけれど。
The Student Council, which is basically a fascist organization, holds control over the battling. They had created a school-wide ranking system which determines the hierarchy of the school. However, they only allow those battles once every 3 months, thus making the system really top-heavy, and actually discourages people from trying to improve their rank. It's like, they pretend to be these smart people, but they don't understand how this works.
そうそう。 君、
You might be like, but they want to stay on the top.
ガンプラバトルの大会で優勝したこともあったんでしょ?
Which, also, ignoring the point I was just talking about, but wouldn't it be cool if, like, that was the tutorial? Like, we got to see this cool Gunpla battle tournament we won? No. It's just kind of blown over in our backstory that they made up for us. However, we find out that Yui's actually, the student council president's actually looking for somebody to defeat him. And yet he makes it so nobody can. This will be brought up by one of the student council leaders later, but like, how did nobody ever not think it through? It's ridiculous. But these are state-of-the-art Gunpla battle pods. They are all networked in. Except for you find out later that setting up a rogue server on this network is freaking easy. There is no rogue access point detection or anything like that. You can set up sub-networks or parallel networks super easily. It's kind of ridiculous how bad the security at the school is. Like, I've set up networks for schools many times now, and none were this bad. But then again, this is Japan, and they don't care what IT is. And we also get a bunch of decisions like this, which you don't actually get a decision, and clicking this button is pointless, but whatever. Oh, and we also never find out what our character says. So we get character agency without getting character agencies. Everyone's favorite. I am by far and away way better than everyone at the school is, but that's because I do the outrageous thing of playing the objective. Why else would be in here? We're gonna do some finger painting and then some underwater basket weaving. This is Iori, our class representative. She's also one of the other girls you can go for. However, I find her the most annoying character. She is the very stereotypical battle girl archetype, and she has a crazy voice. Except for she says the exact, like, 10 lines many times over and over again and gets super annoying very quickly. And this one guy is the only one who thinks that. Everyone else doesn't like her.
委員長バトルになると
They'll put a couple of things like that forward occasionally, and literally every time it's shot down, it's like, we get it.
私はいつでもそれでは早速始めましょうミッションスタート
Yeah, sadly, there's no way to skip the tutorial. This gunplay is customized. All I did is repaint it. I didn't change any of the equipment. I did that at the end of the first episode of the original time I recorded this, because I wanted to show you guys customization. We'll go through it again, but be aware that you start with the standard Gundam colors, not the Xeon paint job. I also tried to get the Gundam shield, but I couldn't find one, sadly. So this is an RX-78-2 Gundam. This is the Granddaddy Gundam, the original one developed by the Federation during the One-Year War. So the thing about the Gundam, it wasn't the overall product of the Project V or Project Victory, depending on what you want to call it, and which lore you go by. But it was the third model created and by far the most successful. However, I wouldn't say it's really the crown jewel of Product V. I really say that is the GM, which is the mass production mobile suit that we just crushed a few seconds ago, which I'll mention next time I see one. Basically, the GM was the mass production version of the Gundam, and just its like pure existence turned the war towards the Federation much quicker than the Gundam actually did. The Gundam was a very big determinant factor in that, though. So you'll notice down at the bottom of our screen, we have what looks like boxes with parts in them. If you want to in this game, you can switch parts at any time. Some of them improve your stats, some weaken or some lower your stats. There's also occasional quests you get to do certain things. The downside to this versus the old Gundam Breaker games is in the old games you could have as many as you want, and after you picked up a part, it couldn't be knocked off of you. In this one, you can only hold up to 5, and the last part you picked up is the first one to get knocked off if you miss something. If you'll notice at the bottom right, there's a couple of abilities there. Those are special stuff you get for leveling up. You generally level up by hitting enemies or destroying chests. However, it's per level, you always reset to level 1, so you're always collecting shit and killing people, but it's kind of be expected. You want to complete points to get, or quests to get points up in the top left, and those points will allow you to get new things. God damn it. We didn't have that, so that works. And those will give you build parts at the end. I've actually already unlocked the build parts for this one because I already got an S on it. But we'll go over build points in a second. Yeah. Looks like we got some Zaku 2 legs, gun cannon backpack, and some Zaku 2 arms. We also already had a beam spray gun and some Dom legs, so we're just gonna sell those. So at least my headcanon for this game is the pods are actually connected to like 3D printers, and parts you picked up in battle are printed for you. But you find out that's actually not the case later, that everyone just buys like individual parts from kits. Then again, this is Bandai, so they're probably selling like a chest piece for like $9. So build parts actually do increase your stats very minimally in the game. In the previous game where they were introduced, they were completely aesthetic. In this one, they increase something by 2 points and they decrease something by 1 point, which you'll find out later that that's completely trash and almost unusable. They don't even give you special abilities either, so you could like load up your thing with extra missile pods and just not be able to use them. So it's kind of disappointing, but we'll get to that in a second. I will tell you this now, even by default, me being bad at this game, you are way far and ahead better than everyone else at this school. I can even solo Yuki if I need to, who's the student council president. I did it with a mobile suit that was way underpowered. I just liked how it looked. I did it like 5 times also.
俺どのキットでいこうかな。
僕の超改造したジオングを見てよ。
The perfect Zeong is actually in this game, surprisingly. So is the Kshatriya. We'll get to those suits eventually, but for now we won't talk about
ガ
them.
ンプラバトルのためのこの学園でみんなただバトルができるだけなのに、その理由きっとすぐにわかりますよ。
Student council restricts those kind of things. They have to determine when it happens. The teachers are basically powerless. They're beholden to the student council because the student council is holding their pay ransom. You know, the usual. We'll get to that eventually. We'll find out about it way too late in the story, though. But yeah, so we're gonna back out. We're gonna go to setup mode. This is the mode where you can customize your Gunpla. So by default, this is what the Gundam looks like. I repainted it with one of the presets, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So first comes to first, you have a ranged weapon. There is no downside to carrying a ranged weapon. Even if you don't use it, it increases your stats. The beam spray gun is that all parts have stats in this game, and not all parts are equal, unlike the old games. So say you want to do an Exia build, you're fucked. It's just weaker than everything else. Sucks to be you. You don't want to use a Nightingale build? Well, the Nightingale and the Providence are the two best Gunpla in the game, so if you don't want to use them, well, screw you, I guess. I don't like that system either, but whatever. Once the de novo on this game is cracked, but because no one's playing it, which not really the time to talk about this, but apparently on the first day, it sold a mid-1,000 copies. This is a AAA game, and it sold worse than most indie games. Well, some middling indie games do worse, but yeah. So anyway, back to the game. You have a ranged weapon. Usually rifles or bazookas are what you want to go with. Rifles do the most damage, but bazookas have good knockoff. Machine guns are generally absolutely trash. Shotguns are okay at close range, but their spread is so big that you have about 3 inches of space to do damage. Right now we have a beam spray gun from the RGM-79, or the GM, the mass production mobile suit based off the Gundam. Some people call it Jim. That is not the correct name, but we'll discuss that later. We have the beam rifle from the gun cannon, which was the second prototype created by the B project. This one actually has a larger battery than the Gundam's beam rifle, but it's a little bit lower wattage, so it doesn't do as much damage. We'll get to that eventually too. And then the Zaku machine gun, which machine guns are okay, but damage-wise, they are less than, overall they do about 1/10 the damage of a beam rifle would do, and they have about similar ammunition stores. Kinda bullshit, but whatever. Melees-wise, you want a sword or an axe. Axe are actually better. Most swords, by the way, have the exact same model. They just look slightly different by the handle. You either want a sword or an axe in this game, because the sword or the axe do the most damage. However, I was using the sword because I hadn't changed it yet. We did get a Heat Hawk or a Dozel Zobby's large Heat Hawk. We'll use those eventually, but for now we're just going to go with what it is. It's also the beam spear. I don't really like the beam spear though. Spears are really good, but their animations take longer to hit people, so it's kind of a pain in the butt. Besides that, there's heads. Heads also affect your stats, like the Gion head is just straight better. It just looks funky, so I didn't pick it. Bodies, same thing. Like if we went Dom body, it would just be straight up better than the Gundam stuff. It's not true, but yeah. We also picked up a master grade body somewhere. One of the cool things I do like about this game is both high grade and master grade have the exact same stats. So if you want to say build a slightly bigger Gunpla, you can. You don't have to wait till the end of the game to replay the entire game to unlock all the stuff in master grade, similar to 3. However, some people really don't like that. I also love the fact that you can stick bigger parts onto a mobile suit. So like we could just have a humongous body for some reason. Or in my case, a ginormous shield and the rest of your body be really small. Besides that, some arms have built, you'll notice down in the bottom right, the EX skills. Arms have built-in abilities, like you can even equip a beam rifle with machine gun hands from the gun cannon, or the gun tank. It's kind of funny. They don't have manipulators, but screw it, we'll mount it. Yeah, say if we equip the Gion arms, we'd be straight up better. Though, the ability on this thing, Burst Breaker, is freaking good. I like it. I just found out it existed very recently. It's pretty neat. And I don't know where I picked up GPO1 arms, but I have GPO1 arms. Yeah, we're gonna leave basically everything like the same it is now, but like say we wanted to go Google Eggs, which actually works with our paint scheme a little bit. Not the one we have currently, but I was gonna make this work. Plus it gives you speed boost, which is nice. Be straight up better. You could also get the 3 missile pods here, which will actually give you a boost, but they fire straight up, so they're kind of weak. That being said, you can choose to not equip the shield if you want, but generally you have a downside to it because the shield's necessary. So look how big that thing is. I kind of want to equip it. Also, that beam saber is like the size of its head. But so you generally want a shield even if you don't have it visibly shown on you. How do you do this? I think it's... No, it's not that one. It's... Why? No, that's search. I don't remember how to do it, but... Oh, wait, I know how you do it. It's, No, it's not like that, actually. Start? Select? No. There's a way to modify how your shield is, like what size it is, where it's located, that kind of stuff. I just, for the life of me, can't remember where to do it. And by I can't remember where to do it, I know how to do it on the PS4. I don't know how to do it in this game. Yeah, there's also build parts. Build parts do affect your stats a little bit in this, but they don't add things to it. So, like, say you equipped a cracker, it's on our left shoulder, or our left hip right now. That's a cracker grenade from Xeon. Say if you have that equipped, it'll increase our range damage by about 2 points. It'll decrease our movement speed by 1%. Trash. Complete trash. We won't be able to throw that grenade, though. In the previous games, if you had a build part equipped like that, you could actually use it. Not in this one. So, like, say you had a katana equipped, because that's also a thing. Can't use it, even though it's, like, hanging off your hip. You can have a V antenna. Kind of cool. I actually did abuse this in one of my other games. I increased my maximum range about, like, 20% by just lopping on V antennas, and, like, I think it was underneath my shield or something like that. And no one ever noticed, but, yeah. It decreases your HP by 2%, or by 2, like the number 2 every time, but it increases your range by 1%, so that is actually kind of worth it. And then you can also have horns. These increase your damage when you do boosts. I never did a burst, but if you do them, you can. It's also apparently from the Musha Gundam. It's good to know. And I don't know why the Musha Gundam is from True Gundam Dynasty Warriors. It was an SD Gundam first, but whatever. There's also this menu over here for SD skills. This takes the skills from your parts and you get to set them. You only get a choice of 1. In the previous game, you got a choice of 8. And like you could set them where you wanted to, but in these ones, they're only the skills that comes with your equipment. But say your arms have 2 skills. So like, say I use that Gion shield. Instead of one of these, I could replace it with one ability from that Gion shield, but I couldn't use both if I wanted to. It's kind of lame. But we're going to keep the Gundam shield right now because shield strike is actually really useful for moving fast. And finally, there is the inner frame. This is the newest mechanic for New Gundam Breaker, and while I like the idea of it, the implementation is really bad. Because in the tooltip, they actually say that different frames will have different abilities depending on parts. This is totally untrue. All parts have the exact same stats depending on, no matter what frame you have equipped. So Exia stuff, even if you're using a Seeker frame, which is the speed frame, we'll get to that in a second. Exia parts, still always trash. Striker frame is always the best one too. So there's 5 choices. There's the balance frame, which is the best all around, and most people apparently use this as a mainline. I did not. I went straight for the striker frame, which has more damage, but less thrust, which I overcompensated by adding a shit ton of thrust onto my character, which I'll probably do that the same way. And literally I could boost from one corner of the map to the other one, even with the increased increased damage. There's the gunner frame, which this is actually the best damage-wise frame. But it halves your HP. So I tried using this and like I would one-shot enemies, but then I'd get hit and get killed in one shot. Pretty useful if you're playing on multiplayer and a ton of fun to use, and I love using it when I play online, but anywhere else is kind of trash. Because if you're playing online and your enemy doesn't kill you, and assuming they're not lagging, they're kind of doing it wrong. There's Enchanter frame, which boosts up your EX skills. I generally don't really use them, you'll notice, like I forget they exist. but this is okay. Like, I don't really have a use for it personally, though. And then there's the searcher frame, which this increases your speed, but makes everything else trash. This is really bad, and I've never seen somebody use it well, but I could be wrong. I always use the striker frame because it gives you the most damage, and it only takes away your speed. Okay, yeah. I also unlocked some frame stuff, so... you unlock these abilities literally just by doing things. Like, kill people, you can unlock these. Finishing missions, you can unlock them. They're, like, completely random how you get them. So, I think in my previous game I had unlocked all of these. But, like, for the striker, or for the gunner frame, which I used way more, I only unlocked, like, half. But I'm equipping these right now because you have 2 empty slots. There's no downside to equipping them. And the more you use them, the more experience they get. I believe you get something like 10 experience per battle, or something like that. I could be wrong, though. So this increases enemies' ability to knock my parts off by 12. Probably when I level up, it'll be 15, then 18, 21, that kind of stuff. And then this increases my chance to knock enemies' parts off when my HP is low, which I generally forget to heal fairly frequently, so that happens a lot. Yeah. As far as paint goes, you can literally paint like parts of everything if you want to. The beam saber is always kind of disappointing because you can't change the beam color. But like, say you wanted to paint the handle like blue. I don't know. Oh, yeah, we painted that one line on it blue. So we could also go blue here. Or let's go camo here. And then red in the middle. So yeah, we could do it like that if we really wanted to. You can do that with your gun as well. Your head, your body, your arms, your legs, your backpack, your shield, even your builder's parts if we had them equipped. Or you could do them all at once. This is generally what I use. So on the on the DS4 or the Xbox controller, if you hit the select button or the button to the left near the left analog stick, you unlock the pre-paint menu or present themes. There is always, as always, the standard Gundam paint job. Can't really tell because, you know, we have that paint job. There's the Meteor Pink, which is a facsimile of Char's. It is not same in pink though, so it is not good enough. It's too red, damn it. There's the Elite Navy, which is the Titans paint job. This is the Titans group, which formed after 0083 to hunt down Xeon remnants and stop terrorist attacks like colony drops. But that caused Zeta, so we'll get to that eventually. There's the Dark Gold, which is the Akatsuki, or the, God, I forget the name for the Astray Gold from Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, but that's what that is from. And technically the Gaia as well, the Gaia Gundam, but I always forget that exists. There's the Lightning Blue, which is based off of the Lightning Gundam from Build Fighters Try. Command Crimson, I still on the top of my head can't figure out what this is. For some reason I keep thinking it's the the Zoda Commander from Victory, but that also has that paint job. And it might just be. I don't know. Offhand though. There's Blast Green. This is based off of the what's his name? What's Fellini's mobile suit again? The Gundam Wing Fenice, I believe, or something like that. But you might be surprised that this is actually based off of the 7-Eleven custom color scheme from 7-Eleven or Kawaii Mart or whatever you want to call it in Japan. There's the Sonic Orange, which is based off of the GM Cardigan. This is the one I tend to use, but I'm just a big fan of orange and white. Very crimsicle-y. There's the Soldier Green, which is the bog standard Xeon paint job. I do really like this, and this is actually the one we're going to go with. There's Massive Purple, which is the Black Tri-Stars paint scheme. I like this one as well, but I can only use it on campers because I really think they need campers. But we'll get to that eventually as well. There's the Justice Red, which is the Justice Gundam's paint job from Gundam Seed. So unsurprisingly, there's no Kira stuff because Kira's a nerd, goddammit. Then there's also Trial Gray, which is based off the Gundam G3, which was the third Gundam produced in Project V. It would eventually be put into storage while the magnetic coating used on it will be analyzed and eventually applied to the Gundam. It was put in storage eventually till use in 0080 when it was tracking down a Zanzibar that was moving from Axis spec to Side 3 carrying Char, Haman, Char's girlfriend, and a couple of other people. That guy, the pilot of it, would then proceed to sexually assault Haman. That indeed did happen. So we're going to go with the Xeon color scheme, just because I like it, though. We're going to go to the shield real quick, and we're going to make this black. Because we have the Xeon logo. We can't make it any bigger. But anyway, folks, that'll be that. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. We'll be back probably tomorrow for the second episode, and then I'll probably be done. I guess comment if you want me to do more, but I don't think I'm going to. It's too much of a pain in the ass. Anyway, folks, good night.